Welcome. In this edition of Kurukshetra, we would discuss specifically pertaining to agriculture and the developments of agriculture in rural India. So, the very first topic talks about the agri-tech revolution in India. Now, this includes digital technology being used for transforming agriculture and increasing the livelihood. Now, if we go on to the key statistics, we would see that it is nearly 89% of the farmers who have less than 2 hectares of land, and 30% of the agricultural GDP is from the livestock sector. So again, these sectors become important. If we talk about the productivity gap, it's extremely high in comparison to India and China. China has a very high productivity. India's productivity rate for agriculture, specifically for the kind of crop yield which are for commercial purposes, is very less. But in contrast to that, if we talk about the workforce share, the share of workforce in India is extremely high. Now, what are some of the major ways through which we are focusing about digital transformation or agri-tech revolution in agricultural sector? So this includes use of drones, robotics, Internet of Things. We are talking about usage of smartphones through which the information on the weather forecast would be given, maintaining a digital supply chain, e-marketplace gems to be established, geotagging of the assets. Now this would help in better resource management, better planning, and finally the information being availed through satellite and weather data. Now some of the national initiatives include Dhan Dhanya Krishi Yojana. Now this aims to improve the agricultural productivity, the post-harvest storage, irrigation facilities to be upgraded, and focusing on the short-term and long-term credit facility. Also, there is another initiative which is known as AgriStack India, and this is under the National Management Systems, which is a data-driven mechanism. Now, this has inputs from weather, soil, and marketplaces. This data goes to CAMS platform, and finally the farmers are advised on their mobile phone, and the government is given the respective details on the planning and development. The next is conservation agriculture. Now this is a way for resilient agriculture. Students from geography background or agricultural optional would find this topic very useful and highly predicted for your mains examination. Now here we aim to understand that there are three pillars of conservation. One is we are trying to disturb the soil at its minimum, that is protect the soil from any kind of erosional activities or the unplowed soil. So here practicing zero tillage is one such example. Then maintaining a permanent soil cover and diversifying the crop. So if we talk about conservation agriculture, nearly 3 million hectares of land is in conservation agriculture in India, mainly along the Indo-Gangetic plains, and then more than 1 lakh farmers have adopted it for long-term benefits. Now the major thing that we see is the reduced cost. It would also help in saving the fuels with a minor improvement in the yield as well as the irrigation cycle being reduced. But there are certain challenges and solutions that we need to address. The challenges include high cost of machinery, the gap of knowledge and technical mindset for the farmers, the competition for the resources, specifically the animal fodder, which creates a huge conflict, and small and fragmented land holdings. But on the other hand, we have a good support system, better education and demonstration, good business models and policy integration. Now the next is gene editing for agriculture. Now biotechnology excuse me, has brought a significant change in the way agricultural crops are grown. So you have the CRISPR-Cas9 technology. This was one of the important technologies which was brought by Charpentier in 2012, and they were awarded Nobel Prize for the same. And it includes like tools that can act as scissors to cut the DNA, edit it, and join it with another one. And then this was later used for plants in 2012 2020 Nobel Prize was again given for the same. So the basic idea is to target the right gene, cut it at a right place, repair and edit the gene. Now this technology has transformed agriculture in a substantial way because we are focusing on higher nutrition, improved yield and better climate resilience and drought tolerance. Now the next is India's leadership in gene editing. So compared to other agricultural varieties, rice is one where numerous development has been seen. So DRA Dhan 100, which is Kamla, is one of the important yields which has seen 20% increase, and Pusa rice DSTI is another one. This has led to higher amount of market growth. Nearly 2.2 billion is sought as a valuation for growth in genomics center, and global seed market again rising significantly from 60 to nearly 99 US dollars. The next is carbon farming. Now this is another variety of smart climate resilience. Now here the major idea is to work on solutions for carbon sequestration. We have already covered carbon sequestration in a separate lecture, and that's really important to understand the sustainable practices. Now agriculture contributes to nearly 1/4 of the total greenhouse gas emissions, and some of the ways we can practice carbon farming includes rotating the crop, companion planting, biochar application, which is biological charcoal being applied to the soil so that it creates a long-term carbon sink, conservation tillage, creating cover crops, agroforestry and better fertilizer use are some of those. Now if we focus on cost effectiveness, for conservation tillage and fertilizer use and cover cropping, the cost is very effective. We could say it's very effective for that. But for biochar, agroforestry and conservation tillage, it has a very high impact score. So if we talk about India's carbon market, nearly 3 to 8 billion tons of carbon dioxide potentials have been annually stored in Indian soils, and we have seen very high results for the same through the national mission, creating a transparent market and making robust monitoring. So some of the challenges we need to focus on is the high cost, weak infrastructure in the rural areas, the cultural perceptions that exist and limited technical knowledge. Now the next one is precision agriculture. Now this is one of the very important agricultures which have been practiced in the regions like Israel, and we are talking about creating our agriculture with more precision. So if we focus on the agriculture in India, it contributes to 18% of the gross value added production, 46% of the population. Now with this precision agriculture itself, we are trying to feel that there could be a threefold increase in the gross value addition, and this could bring a significant economic shift. So agriculture along with the other industries become very important. So under the precision farming, we talk about farm to fork, that is maintaining a complete transparency in the supply chain, creating a farm mechanization, marketplaces and artificial intelligence with better increase in the crops, reduce in the use of fertilizer and more water saving technologies to be generated. Some of the initiatives include Digital Agricultural Mission, which aims to bring all these under one head with geo-referenced village maps and crop zone registries. ENAM, which is electronic marketplace, a national marketplace for all agricultural commodities. Namo Drone Didi scheme, which is specifically for rural women, and soil health cards, for which nearly 25 crores have already been issued. Now, what are the benefits of this digital harvest technology? It would bring in better crop production, reduce the cost of input, bring in better climate resilience, bring in more empowerment for women members of the society, and help in sustainable farming. So despite the high upfront cost, in long run it could bring in better digital literacy and create better avenues for agricultural development. So if we talk about 2025, we have witnessed nearly 4,000 and more agricultural startups that have came into existence with nearly 2.5 billions in sector investment and more than 50% of the labor force being occupied in agriculture and allied activities. So our focus is specifically from low productivity to precision farming and high productivity, checking the supply gaps to market linkages, climate vulnerability to sustainable farming, and these are some of the technologies through which we can bring in definite changes. So some of the important things that we haven't discussed so far are Agri Infrastructure Fund and the Krishi Vigyan Kendra, which would provide the spearheading for the fourth generation of agricultural reforms in India. And the last important topic is the cooperative farming in India, or the cooperatives being developed. So Amul is a classic example for white revolution in India. Similarly, we have seen the blue revolution for fisheries and green revolution for agriculture. Now, if we talk about the cooperatives globally, we are trying to meet some of the sustainable goals, the sustainable development goals through these cooperatives, and some of them which have been well met includes the decent work, responsible consumption, poverty, zero hunger, and good health. So these are some of the goals which have been met with significant development through the cooperatives. Now, the cooperatives have been booming across various sectors, be it the energy, digital, healthcare, ecotourism, mobility, or value chain system. All of this we have seen a shift from weak governance to better cooperation, limited tech adoption to national cooperative database, and then from youth low participation which has been witnessed to emerging sectors which would be highly important for sustainable tourism for agriculture. So Sabka Saath, Sabka Vikas, Sabka Vishwas and Sabka Prayas is the new mission that we go for. So those are some of the things that have been discussed. But yes, with the cooperatives, we are able to meet the sustainable development goals that have been laid down by UN, and this model has been turned as highly successive model specifically in the production of milk or white revolution in India, and similar feedbacks have been incorporated into other sectors as well. So that was for today. Thanks for joining, and of course we would be covering the Yojana Down to Earth and Kurukshetra on a regular basis. So don't miss the series. Have a great day ahead.